Now, Lake of the Ozarks News Update. Stories, events, activities, and entertainment information of interest in and around the lake.
I'm Ashley Kyle.
And I'm Bob Spicer.
And this is your Lake of the Ozarks News Update.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the dropping lake level.
Counting the cost of postage stamps.
Bidding farewell to a lake landmark.
Talking about swimming in February.
Woof, and lots more. But first, here's a message from our sponsors.
A piece of history dropped into the Lake of the Ozarks last week when demolition crews blasted the last stretch of the hurricane deck bridge. More than 47 pounds of explosives were detonated across the 700-foot central span of the bridge, and over 1 million pounds of steel and debris plunged into the water. The old bridge was built in 1936, and the new one has been open since last September, carrying an average of 10,000 vehicles per day.
Well, it's been cold in central Missouri, in case you hadn't noticed, and for many that means more expense in heating a home. But the cost has more than doubled for those who have propane heating. Propane prices have risen from $1.94 in December to around $5 in recent days, and Missouri's Attorney General wants to know why. Chris Koster announced last week that his office has begun investigating the cause of those skyrocketing propane prices, which have fueled frustration for many in the Midwest this winter. Koster's office says they will issue a report when the investigation is complete, but analysts have suggested that the reason for this spike may be a combination of increased exports and increased demand in an especially cold winter.
Ameren normally conducts a winter drawdown to prepare for a rainy spring, but its pace has increased with recent cold weather. More cold also means more space heaters and electric furnaces running, so extra water has been running through the Bagnell Dam to serve the increased demand for power. That, combined with the recent dry weather, has pushed the lake level down. Ameren plans to bring the water level down to 654 feet by mid-February. It could go as low as 651. Ameren's lake level forecast is updated every weekday. To hear it, call 573-365-9205.
Well, get ready to fork over a few more pennies at the mailbox. The cost of postage went up last week, in case you hadn't noticed. First-class letters have increased to 49 cents each, but the 3-cent hike will only be temporary, they say. It's scheduled to last only 2 years, but critics say inflation during that time will basically make it a permanent increase. There have only been 2 times in history when the Postal Service lowered rates. The first was in the late 1800s, and the second was just after World War I.
The city of Lake Ozark last week took a step toward resolving employee pay issues that took the spotlight in both January meetings. Some city employees had claimed they were being underpaid for overtime, sick days, vacation, and holidays, and City Administrator Dave Van D had proposed changes to the personnel manual earlier in the month. But not all of the city board members were ready to move forward with Van D's recommendations at that time. At last week's meeting, the board agreed to form a committee to work with Van D to decide on changes to the manual.
Power outages can be inconvenient, but an emergency dispatch center had a little blackout that could have spelled disaster. Thankfully, when the Osage Beach Communications Center lost power last week, help was just a few minutes away. In fact, the Camden County Emergency Services Communications bus rolled into the parking lot at City Hall, and dispatchers moved on board and were soon up and running and connected back to the service. Emergency services continued as usual, and by the end of the day, the City Communications Center was back online.
February is a great month for swimming if you're at the Westlake Aquatic Center in Laurie. The lake's only indoor mini Olympic pool closed last November after the boiler burned up, leaving 70,000 gallons of water with no heat source. During the downtime, the Aquatic Center got a facelift with new showers, a new pool cover, and other repairs. With a new boiler installed, the pool is planned to reopen the second week of February, and its large schedule of activities can resume.
Well, whether you're a gardening pro or an amateur, you can walk away with something new at the 3-County Seed Exchange later this month. Gardeners from Morgan, Miller, and Camden counties are all invited to the free event at the Sunrise Beach Fire District Training Building in Sunrise Beach. on February 22nd. That's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Locals will gather to exchange and donate heirloom seeds and learn more about seed savings. This is the first year for this event, which is sponsored by the Lake Area Garden Coalition, a nonprofit community group committed to supporting gardening efforts around the lake. Now here's a look at some of the events coming to the lake area this week.
From Friday through Sunday, the Missouri Bow Hunters Festival will be at the Country Club Hotel in Lake Ozark. The event will feature seminars and speakers, as well as the chance to buy and trade equipment. For more information, visit unitedbowhunters.com.
A talent showcase is coming to School of the Osage on March 15th, but auditions for that show are this Saturday at Harper Chapel United Methodist Church from 10 a.m. until noon.
On Saturday, the Winter Bass Challenge Championship will be at Robbins Resort in Osage Beach. Takeoff will be at 8 a.m. and the final weigh-in will occur at 3:30. Visit bassingbob.com for more details.
And Saturday, the Anglers in Action Team Trail Fishing Tournament will launch from Public Beach number 2. Takeoff is scheduled for 7 a.m. in the morning with the final weigh-in at 3 in the afternoon.
The Winter Tour two-person scramble continues on Saturday at the Golf Club at Deer Chase. If the weather cooperates, this shotgun start is scheduled for 10 a.m.
Saturday evening, Harper Chapel United Methodist Church will host its 4th annual chili cook-off and dessert auction. The event begins at 6 p.m. and is limited to 12 chili entries. Contact the church for more information.
On Sunday, Bridal Cave invites couples to renew their vows in the annual Valentine's celebration. The free event includes fresh flowers for the bride, a free portrait, a bottle of sparkling cider for the happy couple, and a free lifetime pass to the cave. Who says you have to spend a lot of money to be romantic? This has been your Lake of the Ozarks news update brought to you by Lake TV in association with LakeExpo.com. I'm Ashley Kyle.
And I'm Bob Spicer, and we'll see you next time.